What's up guys, hope everyone is doing well. In this video I'm going to be going over some updates for XYO, but nonetheless to go ahead and get it started here, the first thing I want to talk about is this hourly chart. And what we can see here is a Fibonacci retracement taken from the bottom here of this local low zone right before this nice large pump that XYO has seen recently amidst the big news of the Tesla XYO integration. Potentially still a Binance listing to come as there are some things going on concerning that. But as of now, the Tesla XYO integration has been confirmed and validated, as it was quite a lot of people were having some concern and some questions and some hesitancy as to whether or not that was actually going to come to fruition. But so far, everything is looking very, very positive in that front, and even the price, obviously, as you can see here, how well, even on CoinMarketCap recently, XYO has been the top gainer and the top mover. Moves, upwards 200 to 300 spots in terms of market value because of this bump, as I mentioned in the last video. But again, so we see this Fibonacci retracement here from the local lows to this recent local high here. We can see that the price has come down so far from this local high approximately 5 cents all the way down to at its lowest moved 48.97%, so approximately 50% down from that local high at this point. Right now it's hitting here, as you can see, this turquoise level. This is the golden ratio, the 0.618. If we look down here at the RSI, you can see it's sitting right here, just right above the 382. It's essentially just as low as the RSI was when it was back here at around 4/5 of a penny approximately, just right below a penny. And it's also basically at the exact same level as you can see right here, right here. I mean, really, if you look at this entire price action right here, it was all roughly staying above this 382. And as I'm saying, we see the RSI coming right down to that, yet the price is quite higher, which is a pretty good thing to be seeing. It still could definitely come down lower. If we look here, we see this white estimated moving average, the 200 EMA. You can see that during this price action right here, there's a bounce, rough bounce here. Ultimately, it was this, you can see the price was holding above it. Then right here, we saw this final interaction. Saw the price just go just a tad bit below right here around the beginning of December. But ultimately, you can clearly see there's this massive bounce right along the 200 EMA. So the price could definitely come down and test that once more. There's also a vector zone, as you can see right here. This would be basically at approximately 2 pennies, more so at around like a penny and a 4/5 of a penny, roughly. There's also another vector zone down here, basically at just a little bit above a penny. And then also the 800 EMA is right here, also sitting almost right at a penny. And also, as I've been said in the last videos, as I've gone over this frequently recently, it could definitely go lower than a penny. It's still in play. Obviously, anything is possible, and entertaining those as well. But I would say that's more likely than not won't be the case. Although we look here, we can see this descending resistance. You can see this descending support. And before I get to pointing out that in terms of, let's say this kind of behaves like a bull flag, whether or not it's technically a bull flag, you can technically call it that. Let's just say that the price here is seeing this impulse, it's correcting, and it's going to then behave like a bull flag. And maybe we'll see a similar pump to the percentage degree of this first one right here, or maybe even something larger. If you look here at the stock RSI, there is a subtle bullish divergence right here, very subtle, really. Essentially, it's an exaggerated bullish divergence. It's not that too much of a strong bullish divergence, but nonetheless, it is subtly there. You can see that the stock RSI has completely reset itself down to the bottom. Last time this happened was, again, right here at the same point, these local lows right here just before this recent impulse, again right here, very similar to what I was pointing out on the RSI, where I was holding the 382, and at very similar occasions you can see that the stock RSI was down at its lowest levels. But look here at the MACD, its recent swing low is far lower than any point back here during this recent consolidation leading into this impulse. There's also a more pronounced bullish divergence here. It also probably within the last 10 minutes or so has flipped bullish. So this potentially could be breaking out soon here. That's also, along with finding right now some support with these bullish divergences on multiple indicators. Again, along the 618, it's also right in the middle. It's really been trading within the entire 50 estimated moving average band right here. So far, it's finding support at the bottom with these minor wicks below. So seeing this MACD continue to flip upwards and cross this 0 point, it's going to be very good to see on this hour chart. There's also, again, some on the RVI here, some also more pronounced bullish divergence. It's also with during this downswing, we've seen this, as I pointed out, around 50% drop from these local highs, that the RVI has swung lower than every single swing low, basically right here and right here in terms of the price. And it's basically just as low as these 2 points back here, again, still within this consolidation that led up to this impulse. Lastly, if we look here at the ASO, we can see that so this black line being the bearish sentiment line and the white line here being the bullish sentiment line. Right now with the black being above, we're in more of a bearish sentiment. But you can see that the bearish sentiment is moving upwards, bullish sentiment is moving downwards, and they're diverging from each other. A lot of the times this will be signaling highs or lows. Now, typically it's high whenever the white is above the black. So for example, like right here in this area, you can see that they were diverging from each other, and this was a local high right here during this symmetrical consolidation leading into this impulse. You can see right here as the black was diverging upwards and the white was diverging downwards. You can see this was a local low right here around November 24th. So I think we could potentially be seeing something similar here. And there's also some, now I don't know if it's really technically correct to use bullish divergences, but the price is, as I've been pointing out, making lower lows, yet the ASO right now is trending upwards, so that could potentially be something to point out there as well. But and it seems that the ASO is, you might be able to tell, just let's zoom in here, it seems to be, you see this is coiling up and this is coiling down a bit, so that in conjunction here with the, again, all those bullish divergences that I was pointing out, the meeting of the 618, once that ASO finally, we see that bearish, or rather the bullish sentiment start to move upwards and cross back above that bearish sentiment, we could then enter a period of further bullish sentiment. And then the last time I went over XYO and I pointed out, or I didn't really point it out, I didn't show in that video, but I said that I was looking at the 6 hour and recently saw the symmetrical triangle or convergent consolidation that was going on in its respect to this consolidation point period right here that I was pointing out on that 1 hour chart. That led, as I said, into this, and I was, kind of questioning whether or not I even wanted to, because I kind of wanted to catch another buy-in somewhere closer towards like roughly 1/3 or half of a penny, but after looking at the 6 hour and seeing that, I just didn't think it was best to try to wait for that. I mean, it's really still, ultimately it's still below a penny, or it was then rather, so I mean, nonetheless, regardless, it would have still been a good buy anyways. So when it comes to this Fibonacci retracement here, we're seeing this descending converge or falling wedge, if you will. Right now, it's just really been going sideways at around 2.5 pennies. The price is coming into contact with the lower resistance here in terms of the candle closes. There's this upper resistance in terms of the wicks. That still needs to be broken if it continues to move up here. It also kind of roughly will coincide with the 50 EMA, the price getting above that 50 EMA. This is sitting at around basically approximately 3 cents, but specifically 0.027. And let's say that, as I mentioned earlier on, let's say that this ends up behaving similar to a bull flag. Whether or not it's technically a bull flag or not doesn't really matter, but let's just say it behaves similar to a bull flag, and essentially what we'll see here is, in order to diagram this out, I'll use an ABCD pattern where we see this first initial impulse, we're seeing this correction here, and then we'll see a kind of a move back up. If it's really, really symmetrical in this next, assuming there's an upcoming impulse and we're XYO is almost done with this consolidation here, leading into around the 7th or so, if it's really highly symmetrical, looking nearly the same as the first impulse, we'll see maybe even by December 7th, move up to around this 1.618, as we're finding this potential support on the 618 could potentially see a swing up to the 618. at approximately 12 cents. There's also the 786 at approximately 17 cents. Not only does obviously the 1.618 having importance in general with Fibonacci retracements, but if this, like I said, if this behaves like a bull flag, this first impulse was 422, or rounded up 433%. So if we do that and move up here around 433%, that's pushing towards the 618. So again, around approximately 12 cents. So if it does that again, we could, and if it doesn't in the same time, we could potentially be seeing XYO just in the next few days or so, breaking past its prior all-time high at around 8-9 cents or so, towards around, like I said, approximately 12 cents. Maybe even if it starts, especially if, I mean, if it goes higher, it could push up towards the 786 here, around 17 cents, as I said, or, you know, it could go way higher than that, especially given the good news that has come out recently in terms of the Tesla partnership and agreement and the merging of, you know, obviously Tesla's as cars and the ecosystem of XYO, basically where the cars, the Teslas, will act as the geo mining hardware for the protocol that XYO represents. But if we move here to this weekly chart, the last thing I want to point out is if I zoom in here and I show, or rather, if we just focus in on this breakout point of this last resistance going back to 2021, and then we'll compare that here to this recent breakout. If we take the percent of this first major candle after the breakout of that descending resistance, it was 548%. If we do it here, currently this candle is 482%. And before I get to the main point, if I go to just a little bit higher on the time frame to the 2-week, do that same thing. The first major breakout candle, this one was 658%. This one here is 573%. So we're seeing, I mean, the candles look very, very similar in size. If you can just compare them to each other, looking at this one here and this one here. But to go back down to the weekly, again, even these are looking highly, highly similar as well. Again, after seeing this breakout, after seeing all the things I pointed over in the last few videos I made on XYO within the last few weeks, or the last week or so. Like I said, if we continue to move up here, let's say that the price moves towards, if it goes around 12 cents or so, it's going to be around a 1,500%. If it goes around 16, 17, it's going to be around a 2,000% move just for this candle. So obviously that's going to be far bigger than this candle back here. But the fact that we're seeing this first major breakout candle very close to the percent gains of the prior, during the prior bull market for XYO breakout candle, I think this further validates the fact that, you know, as I pointed out, which I'll point out here again, if we look here at the, taking this trend line here, looking at the slope of this double bottom for the prior bull market, and then cloning this same line and then putting it right here for this current double bottom, it's, as I've already said in the past video, it's literally, we're seeing the exact same slope here for this past double bottom and this double bottom right here. Exact same slope. We're seeing a very similar breakout. And then just everything else considered, the Bitcoin dominance, which actually, let's look at this here real quick, because this is definitely important. It's continuing to go down here, continuing to have a steep drop. The RSI is continuing to have a steep drop, looking like every other single time in the past, as I pointed out as well. Actually, let's go to the weekly here and look. Zooming out here again. Once we start to see this Bitcoin dominance get closer to this 50% zone, that's when I believe we will start to see XYO, I mean, XYO could be ahead of the curve here as it's been doing very well compared to a lot of the other ones, but we'll start to see a lot of these altcoins really, really start to pump, getting towards their prior all-time highs and pumping significantly above that when and as the Bitcoin dominance is getting closer to that that approximate 50% milestone. But that was all that I wanted to go over and update in this video. So as always, none of this is meant to be financial advice. But all that being said and everything gone over, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Ooh, I'm